When I first got my Rift a while back, one of the first things I did is I looked up online, what game should I be getting? VR games aren't necessarily cheap, so I really appreciated having other people's advice, so I avoided making some costly mistakes. Hopefully now I can also pass on some information to those who are just starting out with their new purchase. The games that I'll be talking about here have been chosen for a variety of reasons, but the key points being the price, the quality, accessibility, and the wow factor. I'm going to be putting them into categories of sorts, so those that are freebies and everyone should have, those to show off your new purchase to other people who've never had a go, supported games that you may already surprisingly own in your Steam library, and the full price AAA equivalents that you have to spend the real bucks on. I've also put in a few niche things that are gonna not be for everybody, but definitely for some. So starting out, we've got Dead and Buried. This is the game that I get my friends to play first as a showcase of what VR is really like. From the store page, it may look like another wave shooter that there are definitely too many of, but it's one of the best of the bunch. And a bonus, it's free to new Oculus Touch owners. It's got a great setting, really accurate shooting, and it's a lot of fun. There's also a 2v2 multiplayer, which is a lot better than you'd expect it to be. You're taking real life cover and blind firing from behind a table, and it sort of feels so natural. It's also very much a workout. Of no surprise to anyone, I'm also recommending Robo Recall. Like Dead and Buried, this is now a freebie, and it's probably the best one to show movement, shooting, and interacting as good as they've been so far. It is only let down by the limited number of levels that you can play through, so being a high score based game, there is a replayability through unlocking weapons and buying upgrades. I did restart levels once or twice as soon as I sort of finished them to use that learnt knowledge to beat my score, but to be honest, once I beat the last boss, I haven't actually played it since. There was options of developer back mods, but I've never actually seen one being used. However, again, I will say it's a free game and I still would have paid for this. On to games which are not free but are definitely on the cheap side. First one I can recommend is Space Pirate Trainer. I would say that Super Hot VR is personally my favourite out of this and that, but Space Pirate Trainer gets the nod ahead because of the accessibility of it. You point, you shoot, you don't get hit. You play for 10 minutes and you got a bit of a sweat on, that's good enough. There are so many copycat drone shooting games, but this is the original and this is still the best. A very odd recommendation from myself is Lipari. It's not so much a game as a paid for tech demo. This is what you get to show your mum and your olds who don't like games. It's a 10-minute performance of a semi-ballet, semi-opera where you are an observer from centre stage. It sounds silly, but it is a brilliant proof of concept for the platform, and it has this wow factor to change the opinions of the VR Luddites. Getting onto the games which are free if you already owned them, or very cheap if you didn't. Starting out with Project Cars, and not the second one, the first one. It's cheap. It looks about the same as the sequel in VR. Some say that the AI is better, I don't know, but it's both a great pick up and play game as well as having a really in-depth career mode. If you're not really a big fan of sim racers, just drive some karts with your mates and you'll have a mentally fun time. I really recommend playing this with a wheel though. The immersion goes up by about 2000% and it behaves a lot nicer. I have done a full review on this which is linked below, but I didn't actually buy this for the VR. It was just a happy little extra I found out after the fact. If you get seasick in real life, you may find that it carries over to this title. But even if you find that you cannot get on with the VR in Subnautica, you still have a brilliant game to play in normal 2D. It's extremely colourful, the movement is nice and fluid, no pun intended, and it really is an experience which is fully on its own with no competition. Like Project Cars, here's another one that I had for years anyway, and then one day it just updated with Rift support. Mental. The game itself is getting on a bit and it is a bit clunky, but no doubt that it's fun. You're not going to be as good as you are with keyboard and mouse, but you're also going to be playing it in virtual reality. I'm finishing up here, which may be the most important, and this is the games where price is no object, just the experience. And firstly, Lone Echo. To me, this is absolutely the pinnacle so far of what I have seen on the Rift, and this is no surprise as it is one of the few bigger budget Rift exclusives and is produced by Oculus themselves. The main game is a single player space affair and it works as the poster child for the platform. It just oozes quality in every facet. The touch controls are perfect, the voice acting and the environmental sound is excellent. The story, although it fizzes out a bit at the end, is quality hard sci-fi of the top level. The graphics are almost peerless as well. There is so much detail in every surface and gameplay mechanic that the screen door effect becomes almost unnoticeable. This is hardly a game to jump straight in with though, as the controls at the start do take some practice, but once you're comfortable, this type of experience is almost what the Rift was solely made for. It gets bonus points as well for Ecco Arena. This is a standalone multiplayer frisbee throwing game that comes with it. It's also free on the Oculus store with any other purchase. Now the big boy, Skyrim VR. Paradoxically, there is so much but so little to say about this. It is the full Skyrim package, but now in VR. There are no compromises. It looks amazing, runs really well. It's easily the biggest IP on the platform, both in terms of gameplay and pedigree, and I'm sure many will be buying a headset for this title alone. But it's also 40 quid in the UK, and it is exactly the same game content wise. I'd already bought Skyrim 4 times before I got this. What I noticed is for everything that is added to the experience with VR, something else seems to have been taken away. Like the menus are really awkward, the textures are lower resolution, the combat feels a little bit silly. I don't know. It still is recommended, but I don't know. For that 1% that didn't own Skyrim before, this is your VR jackpot. But for the other 99% who did already own it, just be wary that it's 40 quid for a game that hasn't really changed since 2011. Also, you can do with this information all you want, and I do not condone piracy. If you own the Steam Special Edition already, there is a less than 200 megabyte crack out there that adds all the VR features. Here are 2 things which I didn't forget about, but I'm not going to recommend for everybody who's just starting out, but there's definitely some people out there who will enjoy them. First one's Elite Dangerous. It supports VR completely. It's a fucking hard game if you don't know what you're doing. Most of the time I can't even get the ship out the dock, let alone do what I'm meant to be doing, but there are some narcissists out there who really enjoy this game and put thousands of hours into it. The second one is Euro Truck Simulator 2. This does have Rift support. You do have to jump through a few hoops to get it running, but you get to drive a big truck afterwards. Again, this is a narcissistic game for those people who like driving trucks. Good on ya. I seem to get the truck crashed on top of an embankment almost immediately, or I can't 3-point turn it out of the fucking warehouse. Enjoy it for me, everyone. Thank you. Well, I hope this has been an okay introduction to those who have just got a Rift and were looking at what they should start out playing. If you have any other recommendations, please put them in the comments. I am always looking for recommendations of things which I may have missed. We've also got a number of VR reviews on the channel for both hardware and for game titles. Check them out if you want to. If not, whatever. Hope you have a good day anyway. See you later, lads. All the best. Bye.
Perfect.